Don't mind me. I'm just eating some cheese. I really like cheese, you guys. Just in case nobody knew. Or somebody wanted to know. I love cheese. Do you want some cheese, babe? Hey, Dion. She's not looking at me. I don't think she wants some cheese. Nice. Okay. And I need a drink. So, how's it going? We're back for another episode. Notes of a Curious Mind. We had to change the title though, you guys. Idiot me created the podcast, chose the title, made my own graphics with my digital avatar. Yay! Woo! Up till 2 o'clock in the freaking morning. Turns out somebody else has already got that title. That's okay. That's okay. Old me would have definitely looked that up. Do you know what I mean? Old, overproductive, perfectionist mode me would have definitely looked that up. Trying to have every tiny little detail sorted, acting like I'm trying to have a full professionally created podcast before I've even taken the journey to learn how to do it first. Do you know what I mean? But new me, kind of running around like a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, whatever. Let's do a podcast. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And then, yeah, oh my gosh, totes my loads. Let's get on with it. And then, yeah, I had a look on Amazon Music because I just wanted to see it come up in the library. And it came up right underneath somebody else's podcast, Curiosity, that's it. I can't even remember what it's called. So I was like, okay, no problemo. Before we get any further into this, before I do any more episodes and I need to re-upload a whole bunch of art and covers and stuff, screw it. Let's change the name now. So yeah, Notes of a Curious Mind. Sorry. My mind being the curious one, okay? And obviously this podcast really just being about me blathering about things, really. Do you know what I mean? Just a space for me to talk about it. All of the things that I wanted to talk about for a long time. So many questions. I thought it would be a good idea as well if each episode, was titled with a question. The last one, not so much, because it was just the introduction of sorts. But in the last episode, we did write down a few notes for future topics, and I've realised I have written them mostly as questions. Do you know what I mean? Why do people always want to reconcile? Why does everyone hate aging? Why do people feel that they need religion to be a good person? Not all of them, just some of them. Why is everyone obsessed with this weird Disney Hallmark idea of romance? Which is just like, ugh. Do you know what I mean? And why does everyone love toxic positivity? Which is today's, as you can probably see from the title. That's probably what I'm going to title it. If I've titled it somewhere else, whatever, that's probably because ChatGPT was helping me out, okay? Okay, so this one is kind of a good place to start, right? Because a lot of what I'm going to talk about and a lot of how I will bring everything back is just talking about, the human experience, spirituality, getting to know yourself and having a relationship with yourself and the universe and, realizing that you're here for a reason, And yeah, sometimes that reason is to just be weird, be a weird, nerdy, I don't know, I was gonna say gamer kid, but you don't have to be, You could just be a weirdo. As long as you're not hurting anyone, you're not taking things from people, you're not out to get something because, you can't bring it to yourself, or you just be your crazy ass self. I love it. Absolutely love it, right? That's kind of the point. That's really all that you're here for. Now, I wanted to talk about toxic positivity. Why do we love it so much? Why do people subscribe so much to toxic positivity, right? Now, there's a whole bunch of easy answers. The quickest one I can come to in my head is the fact that, okay, so toxic positivity exists mostly in in content form on social media. TikTok, Instagram, specifically, quite severely Instagram, YouTube, The whole bit of Facebook, like, there's no real, I'm sure it's almost absolutely everywhere as far as social media is concerned. And I'm like, okay, so why do people enjoy this so much and stuff? I think they enjoy it so much because it's an easy option. It's an easy way out. In a world where we live with next day deliveries, sometimes same day deliveries. Calm down, Amazon. Did you literally just invent a flying robot because somebody needed some tomato paste in like the next 5 minutes or something? Do you know what I mean? We can also, we have deliveries and things like, as in food deliveries, I mean, and stuff like that. So that's just handed to us on like literally at our front door. We live in a world where products and programs and courses and diets and pills, and I mean, we're even up to like injections and stuff now, you guys. Literally, like, inject it into my veins so it does it for me. Okay? Now, that's not for everyone. Obviously, there are some people who genuinely are interested in these things. There's some people who genuinely would have a need for these things. I believe everything that has been invented is for a reason, even if it's something, a gimmick. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if it's a gimmick, like that weird straw that you drink like this so that you don't make a funny mouth and then you get wrinkles and stuff. Like I totally, like, that actually might come in useful for somebody who has, you know, who needs to drink in that certain way. There might be somebody who is struggling with some aspect of their life or their body or their health or their mentality, and you know, silly little gimmicky ideas could actually really help them. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely don't want to take it away, obviously. But I just feel like we're sort of in a point in time where most of us in advanced, certainly Western society, everything is just very easy to get. You don't have to work for it. Here it is for you. It's like the capitalist mechanism, the capitalist machine has recognized that people don't want to work, right? They don't want to do 9 to 5, or we want a 4-day work week. And, you know, I want to work for myself. I want to build my own business, or I'll have my own money. I want it to be on my terms, things like that, right? And then the capitalist machine has recognized that and is now like, okay, fine. Here is something that you can take or use or put somewhere on you or in your whatever in your life that is going to do it for you, right? Here is a nice, quick and easy, sometimes relatively cheap way of doing it so that you don't have to do it, right? And I kind of think in the spiritual community, toxic positivity, it kind of formed, like, that's what makes it so attractive. It's attractive because it skips over the part where you have to do the work, where you have to do the shadow work, where you have to actually face your problems and your traumas and your belief systems, your limitations, your resistance, you know, your inner resistance. It means you're going to have to face people in your life and situations. It means you're going to have to own up to certain things when it comes to taking your responsibility for whatever. It means you're actually going to have to admit that you don't have what you want, or admit that you chose something that you didn't want, or admit that you maybe made a mistake or something like that, you know? And toxic positivity allows for you to be able to skip over all of this and just get to the end point of like, I am living the happiest life of my whole life. Look at how happy my life is. It's my life and it's now or never. I am gonna live forever. Yeah, that's a huge part of the toxic positivity thing as well. Don't even get me started on the aging. Don't even get me started on the aging. What is your problem? Like, everybody want to be a vampire or something? Hey? We all did, like, trying to be vampires or something. Let me look this up on Google anyway. I want to see what Google says about toxic positivity. Also, you know, screw Google because it's also part of the capitalist machine. But unfortunately, I need to search. I ain't gonna live forever. Toxic positivity happens when people believe that negative thoughts about anything should be avoided. Yeah. I think that's an incredibly simplified way of putting it, but I do think it's apt, right? The idea that I am going to... I'm trying to think. Okay, so let's give you an example. I want to just use an example here. So let's say Tina and Stephen. Okay, it covers everybody as males, as females. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Tina and Stephen are married. They are between the ages of 36 and 45, something like that, or whatever, right? They've been married for 10 years, 15 years, something like that. You know, very standard kind of thing. Basically what society told them to do, go out and make your nuclear family. He works in some officey, you know, wearing a tie thingy and stuff, you know, and he's not really climbed the corporate ladder, but he is, he's just petered out. He's just leveled out, you know, and the thing, right? Plateaued. He's reached a plateau in it. And he's not really eager because... Obviously, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then you have Tina. She had the kids, stayed at home with them. They're both grown up, you know, I don't know, 8, 10 years old or whatever. And they're in school. So she's going to work, and she works at Tesco's. If you're in America, Albertsons or whatever, right? And both of them are reached a point in their life what society would deem and has coined as a midlife crisis, right? Which is where... A midlife crisis is, I love the way they call it crisis. It's not crisis. It manifests as a crisis when Stephen decides he's going to go out and dump 30 grand on a motorbike. I love that being the stereotype, but it is quite an apt stereotype. I love the stereotype being that, you know, like just dumping money on a motorbike and buying some leathers and stuff and being like, yeah, I'm a roadman and stuff or whatever, right? So that's what Stephen did. And Tina is... What's Tina doing? Actually, Tina might be starting to get interested in, you know, flirting and things like that. Not because she's looking to cheat or anything like that, but probably just because she's looking for validation and approval. You know, it's been so many years, she's had kids, she's in this stagnant marriage, she's in this stagnant life, and she just wants to know that she is still attractive or viable and things like that or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like very stereotypical. They're like quite typical things that happen and stuff or whatever. And what I love is that we call it a crisis, because that's just how it manifests. It manifests itself as a crisis, because what is happening is this person is waking up. Both Tina and Stephen have woken up to the idea that neither of them actually built what they wanted to in their lives. They just built what they were told, right? And at some point they start to question, who taught me that? They don't even question necessarily who taught me that, but they start to question, why did I think this would make me happy? I don't remember a point in my life where somebody actually sat down and taught me that, you know, get a job, get married, have kids, settle down, house, car, money, and 3 vacations a year or whatever. No, nobody actually sat down and said, did you know that is the key to all happiness in life? And that's what happens. You reach that point where you've been building it for so long and you're like, oh my God, this was never even what I wanted. It was never even what I wanted. I was just told that by doing that, I would be a good person, or I don't know exactly what it is that people are told about these things. I don't recall a point in my life. I recall many times in my life, people, including my mother, saying to me, settle down, have kids, get married, and then you'll be like that. But at no point did they sit down and say to me, that's what's going to make me happy. Because they kind of secretly know that's not what's going to make me happy. For all intents and purposes, they might as well have said, well, that's just what you do. But they also can't say that because that's going to make you question. What do you mean that's just what they do? Who does? What do you mean? So they say it and frame it in things like, well, that's how you become a productive member of society. That's how you are successful. That's how you show other people that you're successful. That's how you are going to die on your deathbed with your family surrounding you and all of those things. But it's not the reality, is it? It's just not the reality. And so toxic positivity comes in. For Tina, it comes in on Instagram. You know, she's a friend of hers at Tesco or Albertsons knows that she's having this hard time right now, or she's just sort of like, you know, unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and things like that. So a friend one Sunday afternoon sends her an Instagram quote. The Instagram quote says, The biggest adventure that you can live is to live the life of your dreams. Right? And Tina reads it and it's just like, yeah, that's so true. Oh my gosh, like, yeah. This is not the life of my dreams. Like, living the life of my dreams, that would make me so happy, and blah, 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 all of those things, right? And toxic positivity comes in for Stephen on YouTube. And it's some younger man, 27, 28 years old, with his YouTube channel saying, get out there and build yourself up. Men need, have some possessions, get yourself in the gym and this, that, and everything else. And here are 5 top tips to being a strong, capable, spontaneous man, or something like that, or whatever, right? So, and it comes in for Stephen in a slightly different way than it will. And that is a gender divide. It is. But both of them are ending up at the same point of going, if I just focus on this external from myself, outside of myself, I will feel so much better. Like, if I could just put all of my attention and my focus and my energy into, for Tina, those Instagram quotes and the motivational shorts and TikToks that come up and stuff with that stupid AI voice over it and stuff. For Stephen, it comes in the form of, finding this person on YouTube. Maybe he subscribes to their channel and watches more of their videos, starts to take it all in. Now, both of those things in and of itself, they seem like they're healthy things, right? People reminding themselves that, separate from this relationship and this life that I've built and this that I didn't really want in the first place, I actually am still my own individual person. Like, that's a great thing. I am all for that. But it turns into toxicity, when it becomes stagnant too, right? Toxicity is stagnancy, right? You have water. Let's imagine you got a glass of water in the middle of the night because you were thirsty. You drank half the water or so whatever, or you drank it all and refilled the cup and put it on your bedside cabinet, or you put it on your table or something like that. Now imagine that water stood there for 3 months. It's going to go stagnant, right? Now imagine that there was left there for, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, how long. Eventually that water, you can't drink that water anymore. It is toxic. It's going to make you ill, right? It's the same with energy. Right? It's the same with relationships. It's the same with situations and stuff. If it just sits and it only stays with no fluctuation, with no changes, with no adapting and evolving and growing and improving or whatever, or even being destroyed one way or the other, something has to change. Otherwise it becomes stagnant. Stagnant becomes toxic, right? And that's what happens with both Tina and Stephen. They both end up at the position of now just applying this stagnancy to their positivity. Right? All I have to do is just keep reading the Instagram quotes. All I have to do is keep watching those videos. I just keep getting it all of the time. I'm seeing repeating numbers. Oh my gosh, that means blah, 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 blah. And Stephen's doing it all the time, where it's like, I'm getting to the gym and I'm doing the thing. At no point is Stephen and Tina actually sitting down and dealing with what they have created, why they created it, how they created it, and what to do with it now that they have created it. Right? And then it sits more and more and more. It becomes more and more toxic. And hey presto, they're wondering why. Stephen's wondering, but I've gone to the gym and I'm looking so much fitter and I'm eating healthier and I'm doing this and I'm making more money. And Tina's over here going, but I'm creating this thing and I've got so many friends in my spiritual communities. I've been doing meditation and meditation and blah, 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 blah. Why is nothing changing? Why is nothing? And it's like, there you go. There you go. We have to deal with the shadow, right? I've been watching, I've been waiting in the shadows of my time. Like, we have to deal with the shadow. It's not that it will only be shadow, but the whole thing needs incorporating, right? So let's use a different example. So for Tina and Stephen, it comes down to needing to incorporate the shadow, the darkness, which is what, let's essentially call it negativity, of the reality of the fact that they built something that they didn't really want. And that is going to probably come down to the fact that they probably were never really in love in the first place. Not in any real, authentic, genuine soul sense. They were just in love in the traditional societal, surely you just marry the person who you went to school with, who grew up down the road from you, because it's not like there's like billions and billions of people in this world. Do you know what I mean? Like, they have to reconcile with all of those things. They have to reconcile with the fact that they probably don't love each other anymore like that. That they're not romantically in love with. They're going to have to reconcile with the fact that they may have created life together, and we have to deal with it, right? That's the only way that they get through and decide. That's the only way that they can see what to build next. Right? Because you can just wander around all you want in your toxic positive lives. Nothing is going to change, right? So let's use more of an individual example here. Stacy. Let's say Stacy has self-esteem issues, especially surrounding her body. Right? Her body and her face and things like that. And you and I would look at Stacey and would just be like, what are you talking about? You're literally like attractive. You're so conventionally, you're almost normally attractive. You've got everything is in the right place. It's all doing its thing and it's lush. What are you talking about? That's what you and me would say about Stacey. But Stacey doesn't look in the mirror and see that herself, because we all deal with our own physicality and self-esteem issues. Even people that we assume don't, because they're the most beautiful people on the planet, they still have it too, okay? It's called programming. However, Stacey, she gets really, really down and out about it. She hasn't quite gone over to the point yet where we're developing, EDs and things like that, but she is starting to worry more about it as she gets older. Let's say she's like 21, 22 years old, something like that, or whatever. She's starting to worry about the fact that as she gets a little bit older, is her body going to start changing? She keeps hearing things everywhere all the time about, your body starts to loosen out when you're 30. I'd just like to say that's a fat lie, by the way. And I am going to use the word fat lie because it's lying. I am in the best shape of my whole life and I'm 32, yo. It's not true. It's not true, okay? However, so as this starts to creep up for her, she finds a creator who is body positive, a creator who, maybe they have a similar kind of body shape to her or something. So that helps her feel like it's more relatable and things like that. Now, again, the initial finding of this person, that's great. That's something that Stacey can follow along with. That's something that she can be inspired by. That's something that helps her feel like she's not alone. Absolutely, all here for it. That's positivity. Right? But what happens is her algorithm starts to show her more and more of body positive, in air quotes, content. And it actually ends up that what she's doing is she's not actually dealing, she ends up not dealing with her belief systems. She ends up not dealing with her societal pressures and expectations. She ends up not dealing with her gender expectations as well, specifically because she is a woman. She ends up not dealing with the trauma that she may have experienced growing up, looking a certain way, or having certain people say certain things about her body, or maybe her people in her life that she cared about, maybe they have had experiences that she witnessed secondhand, things like that. She's not dealing with any of those things. She's just seeing trends. She's just seeing diet pills. She's just seeing contour shapewear. She's just seeing try this 30-day something or other over here, download this app over here, come over here on this diet over here. This food is really high in blah, blah, blah. Did you know that if you did this 3 times a day, you're going to blah, blah, blah. She gets lost in all of that. Everything that she works on concerning her physicality and her appearance becomes a trend. It becomes a product. It becomes a what's the word? A consumption. It becomes a consumption. And she just doesn't end up dealing with her own personal, right? And then that ends up leveling out. She gets into the momentum, gets into the rhythm, the structure, the routine of that, and it ends up plateauing. Again, it just goes stagnant because the shadow isn't being dealt with. That change, something's not being shaken up. The advancement, the evolution, the improvement can't happen because she's just she's only focused on making it seem to herself like she is doing the thing, and that's what's going to get her the result. That's what's going to make her feel better about herself, right? And I promise you, toxic positivity is so easy to fall into. It's so easy to fall into, especially in the tarot community. That's another good one as well. Why do people subscribe to toxic positivity so much in the tarot community? In the spiritual community, and the answer genuinely is because they're just telling you what you want to hear. Toxic positivity is just telling you what you want to hear, right? At the end of the day, things will be okay, right? That is true. One way or the other, it's actually going to be okay. I think about this myself, and I know that it seems dark, and I know that I don't know if it's nihilistic or whatever, but it's the truth. I don't care because it's the truth. One way or the other, things are going to be okay in my life. Things will resolve. I will find a way of working them out. Some things need time. Other things that aren't for me will fall away and something else will take their place because it's just literally the laws of the universe and nature, etc., right? And if none of those things, then I'll just be dead. That's the other option. Like, either it's going to be okay or I'm just not going to exist. And in which case I won't care because I won't exist. Do you know what I mean? So, right? And toxic positivity in the tarot community is just telling you what you want to hear. So what they're going to do then is turn around and be like, try and give you specifics of how everything is going to be okay. Especially when it comes to relationships. Is so-and-so going to come back? Yeah, they're going to come back. They're really thinking about you a lot right now and how this, that, and everything else and how they can't be with you. And they're planning on coming back soon and they're thinking on reaching out and this, that, and everything. Okay. And then 2 weeks later, so are they going to still, yeah, they're still thinking about it and stuff. You know, they've had like some good days and some bad days. By the way, I'm a tarot reader. I'm literally a tarot reader and I cannot stand this kind of crap. At the end of the day, if that person wanted to be with you, they would be doing something to be with you. And even if they do want to be with you, but they're not choosing not to, that's because they've got some kind of filter, they've got resistance, they've got their own issues and their own traumas and their own baggage that is stopping them from coming to you. Which means, guess what? You don't want to be dealing with that. Let them sort that out and then they'll turn up. Or they won't. And it won't matter because you will find something much more aligned for you. You should be sorting out your own damn baggage too. Yeah? But no, the toxic tarot community. In the toxic tarot community, they're always coming back. They're always coming back. Do you know when they're always coming back, even when they're in full-on relationships and marriages and having kids and living their lives elsewhere? Do you know, I've seen people. I've seen people be in positions. I've been waiting for them for 4 or 5 years. Someone was waiting for like 18 years or something. And this person they were waiting for was full on living their life, not even thinking about them anymore. Absolutely moved on, got a whole family, got a whole ass business and just getting on with their stuff and all of that kind of thing. And this person's like, I'm still waiting after 18 years. I know they'll come back to me one day. Oh, you're going to die so lonely. Oh my God. The toxic tarot community, they're always coming back. Always. In the toxic tarot community, everything's just going to work out. You don't have to resolve your traumas. You don't have to visit with the parts of yourself that you hate. You don't have to develop a relationship with yourself and the universe above all other relationships. You don't have to revisit your inner child and talk with them about all of the crap that you had to do or put up with or see growing up. You don't have to visit with the inner critic inside of your head that tells you how dare you think that you're better than X, Y, Z and all of those things. You don't have to do any of that. No. Just carry on living your everyday life and it's just going to turn up like a neatly wrapped package on your doorstep. Yeah, absolutely. Go live your absolute every single... Do nothing. Do absolutely nothing towards changing your life, and your life will change. That is the Toxic Tarot community. And above all, it is in relationships. Above all else, in relationships. Right? It's actually quite astonishing how easy it is to fall into it. But of course it is, because they tell you what you want to hear. Right? Which is, I understand why people are like, they come to me, like, when I'm reading and stuff, and they're like, this is a scam. Why are you listening to this lady? She's scamming you out of your money and stuff. And I'm just like, do you know what? I totally get why you think that way. Because there is thousands of them doing that, yep. Thousands and thousands of them doing that. My aim as a tarot reader is to get you to the point where you literally never need another reading from me ever again. That's what I want, right? You come to me and, yeah. People who book readings with me, they book like once every 6 months. They're not booking every week or every month because they don't need to. They don't need to. I'm not dragging them out or dragging them on. I'm like, here is literally a whole bunch of stuff that you could be doing towards your inner world, your mentality, your emotional body, your physical, your soul. Here is a bunch of stuff you could be doing for your inner child. Here is a bunch of stuff that the universe wants you to know. Biff, baff, boom, done. And then they're off and they're doing their thing for 6 to 12 months. Do you know what I mean? Like they got everything that they needed. But some of them are scammers. They are. They'll just keep telling you over and 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 over again. And it's the same message. Every single YouTube video that they release is the same. They want you to know this, but they can't tell you themselves. Why? The question is, why? Why do we subscribe so much to this toxic positivity? Because we're being told what we want to hear. It takes away all of the necessity of doing the work. It takes away all of the necessity of facing the shadow. It takes away all of the necessity of having to do the nitty-gritty. Oh, can't somebody else clean it up for me? Can I not just pay someone to clean it for me and then I can have my soul? Unfortunately, sorry, this is one thing you cannot pay for. You can pay for help. You can pay for resources. You can pay for tools. You can pay for services. You can pay for mentorship. You can pay for a lot of things, but you cannot pay for the end result. There is no university where your parents can put money under the table and say, can you just pass him, please? Can you just pass him? No. The universe don't take bribes. Yeah? It's not taking your bribes. You have to do the work. Or alternatively not, and just continually have the same life, for a few more years and whatever, It's no sweat off of my back. It's no sweat off of anybody else's back. Do you know what I mean? Like it doesn't affect anyone else other than you. That is kind of the crux of it too as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not a team sport. Sorry. You can be doing it together with, but the doing of the thing is so personal. It's your work, right? So yeah, I thought this would be a really good place to start because I'm just noticing it so much. I notice it absolutely everywhere. And it does kind of drive me nuts as a reader, as a tarot reader, to just be asked the same question over and over and over and over again. Even more frustrating when, it's the same person. You know what I mean? Why is it girls too? Why is it so many women? Why is so many women subscribe to toxic positivity? I suppose maybe they need it. Right? Because it's so rife in, it's not even that, because it's so rife in the spiritual community, and let's face it, the spiritual community is what? 80% plus women. Or, females. It kind of makes sense that this is where they would run into, do you know what I mean? Although I suppose we're going to have to look into it. I'm sure there's probably numbers on it and stuff, right? Has anybody done a study? Women in versus Yeah, women are more religious and spiritual. Studies documented that women are more into religiousness and spiritual practices and more frequently use it to cope with, and frequently use it as coping strategies. Yeah, that is absolutely bang on. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, and it's not just this one either. There's a whole bunch of studies on it and stuff. It kind of makes sense, really. Women just have an innate ability to accept more of the intangible. You know, women, or at least feminines, are going to focus a little bit more on, or at least have more capacity, I think, for belief and faith than men. Just because, again, we live in a society, whereas for men, like, your success and your achievement genuinely is placed in what you have, the physical things, money, possessions, like how you look and stuff. It applies different for men and women, but it still counts. It's there, right? So I think toxic positivity, especially in a spiritual community, it is gonna be more surrounding women, from women, and eaten up and consumed by women. This idea that, you know, if we just drown it out in light, if we drown out the darkness in the light, if we drown out the negative in the positive, that's going to make everything better, right? So we kind of all end up at the same point where women are still not happy and men are still not happy and everyone's building a life that they don't want. So, yeah. Anyway, those are just some thoughts on toxic positivity. Why do we love it so much? Because it's easy to get. Why do we love it so much? Because it helps us ignore the darkness. Why do we love it so much? Because it's like taking a diet pill, right, that we think is going to make us skinny overnight. But then 6 months later, after taking a diet pill, we wonder why we're exactly the same. Right? We're still eating the same amount of sugar and whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a placebo. Oh my gosh, that's what it is. Toxic positivity is a placebo. It is a placebo pill that you take, and yourself thinks that you are more positive, thinks that your life is going to change, right? Even though you just took a placebo. Oh my gosh, guys, we got to the conclusion. That is the conclusion. Also, that makes sense as well with the capitalist machine thing, right? The capitalist machine recognizes, oh, humans want spiritual awakening, this, that, and everything else, and some autonomy of thought, and or blah, 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 or whatever. Here, give them the placebo. It'll make them think. It'll make them think that they're awakening. It'll make them think they're more enlightened. It'll make them think that they're changing their lives. But actually, secretly, no, they are not. Sneaky one, capitalist machine. Sneaky one. It's actually incredibly sneaky. Like, again, I don't necessarily believe that there is, like, people sitting in a dark underground room plotting to destroy humanity or something, or have total control. But I think the system that has been set up and set in place, that is ultimately what it is doing. It's just designed that way, and then some people see that, they play off of it. Some people see that and are like, oh, hell no, I'm taking a step back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye. That one's not for me. Also, I'm a person who just likes the darkness too much. Like I said, I'm going to run towards the noise when there's a ghost. Or if there's a ghost. If I'm out and I think there's a ghost and there's a noise, I'm running towards the noise. Ooh, oh my gosh. Let me see. I want to see the darkness. Right? There is so much value in the demons and the devils of our thoughts and our feelings and our existences as individual human beings. It's just really about taming them. We're not supposed to ignore them. Trust me, they will creep up on you if you try and ignore them. Right? There's no escaping from them until you tame them. They're gonna live. They're always gonna live with us, okay? Also, yeah, about the tarot community too. That was a big one. I think we should probably do a whole separate one on that. But again, it comes down to the same answer as why do we love toxic positivity in the tarot community? Because you're just being told what you want to hear all of the time. It absolves you of your responsibility of having to do anything to change your circumstances or change your thoughts or change your feelings, etc., etc. It puts the onus on some content instead. That's going to do it for me. Do you know what I mean? It kind of makes sense. You know, and it's in a world where increasingly it is easier and easier for us to get quicker and quicker access to all of this content. It makes sense that we end up, rushing to it. Like, I get it. We're humans. We are programmed to want the quickest result possible because we live in a man's world. And that's all there is to it. So, of course, we're going to take some handy Instagram quotes over actually doing the therapy. Of course, we're going to take some AI-generated TikTok voice telling us to let go of this and reform boundaries, something, over actually facing our inner child trauma and voice and things like that, right? Of course we are. Why would we not do that? It's so much easier. But hey, because that exists, that makes this my job. This is my job, and I just get to talk about it all of the time, and I find it fascinating. So I want you guys to ask yourself some questions too. Do I subscribe to toxic positivity? Do I find myself in a position where I am choosing to, or maybe unknowingly, unconsciously ignoring what is my feelings are actually trying to tell me? Am I putting something off or repressing something, denying something, in place of, in order to be able to have a positive thought? Do you know what I mean? Are you trying to reframe something in your life only in light and completely ignoring the root issues and the root causes, right? Especially when we're talking about things like dieting is a huge one, because obviously physical bodies is massive for us as human beings. So dieting is a huge one. Sexuality is kind of one as well. There's all different kinds of things and stuff. But it's an instance where no matter how much you try and no matter how much you listen to it, no matter how much you watch, no matter how many different products you buy or use or blah, 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 you still end up at the same point. And I try and recognize, is that because of a toxic positive approach where you are ignoring the negative because you don't want to look at it? You're ignoring the negative because it makes you feel bad. You're ignoring the negative because that's scary. And then you can begin to just start slowly addressing those things. You can do it in a safe space with a therapist, of course, if that is available to you. The rest of the time, it's just about journaling those things, right? Why do I think these things and where do they come from? Notes of a Curious Mind. Ta-da! That's the title of the show, y'all. Okay, I'm gonna go. I promise future ones will be a little bit more fun than this. The only reason that I wanted to do this one, and it's a little bit slightly more serious, is I did want to get this topic over and done with and out of the way. This whole toxic, you're not coming here and we're all just going to be like, well, I like to talk about the darkness. I like to talk about the devil. I like to talk about the demons, why they exist, why we as humans have those things, and how it affects our thoughts, our actions, our societies, our communities, all of those kinds of things. Right? We're going to deal with it. Why do we hate aging so much? Because people think old people are ugly. That's the kind of darkness we're going to face, all right? We might do that one next. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Wherever you're listening, please leave a comment or a review. Even if you hated it, still leaving a review is really helpful, okay? Thank you so much, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.